Are you ready?
I'm a lady.
And welcome to Idol Days, the show about idol anime. I'm Star.
And I'm Sarah.
And it's time to go under the water.
Under the sea. That's not how it goes at all.
I am under the water. Please help me. It's one of my favorite videos of all time. Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not.
Oh, I will see. It's a silly little TikTok. I'll send it to you later. But yeah, so we are talking. We have decided to completely rebrand our podcast. And instead of talking about idols, we are now talking about jellyfish.
And
jellyfish. Other sea creatures.
Aquatica.
Joke's on you. Just kidding. It's a jellyfish anime.
Great segue, Star.
Thank you. I did such a good job. This is why I don't lead in the episodes, okay?
I love you leading in the episodes. Keep going. Keep rolling.
Okay, yeah. So this episode, we watched an anime called Jellyfish Don't Swim in the Night. I'm not even going to try and say the Japanese title. It's abbreviated like Yorukage, right?
Yorukura. So Kurage.
Yorukura.
Yeah,
that would make more sense, yes. But yeah, so this is the story of a girl and her friends trying to become an online singing sensation and all of the stuff that comes with that. Sarah desperately wanted me to watch this show.
Yeah, because so this came out last season. I really wanted Star to watch it because of two things, which is not the idol girl. It is the fact that there is a VTuber and an artist in it.
Yeah, you were just like, Star, I really want you to watch this show. I really want you to watch this show. And to the point where like she sat me down and made me watch the first episode when I went over to her house for MomoCon a few months ago.
Yeah, mid-season.
Yeah. And so I watched it and I enjoyed it.
Wow.
So yeah, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, and as before, we will do more of a broad summary. I don't think we're going to go completely beat by beat.
Yeah.
So I think maybe a good way to get into it is describe the characters, because this is 100%, I would say, more of a character-driven show than a plot-driven show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's very much like a character-driven storyline in the way that I'll go ahead and say it right now. We can talk about this up front a little bit. I had a good time with this one.
Yay.
I like this show. I usually, am a heavy plot girly, but I felt like this one was very, there was plot. It was all driven by the characters, which I thought was really nice. Like, there was some stuff towards the end that I did not like as much.
Yep.
Okay, so you...
Yep. I think here we're already spoiling it. So spoilers if you haven't seen the show. I think that the first half of the show is pretty strong. Personally, up till the Baba episode, I love that episode. And then it just kind of becomes a little disjointed feeling.
Yeah, I felt like I definitely do feel the same. I felt like the beginning was really strong, and I felt like there were some parts of the second half that I liked, but a lot of the stuff that happened in the second half felt kind of forced.
Yes,
I think
agree.
Is my biggest takeaway from it.
I feel like the thing with Jellyfish is the highs are really, really high, and the lows aren't even bad. It gets a little boring. Like some solutions are just kind of here's the answer on a silver platter, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. And for me, it's I still like the second half of the show. There's some stuff in the second half of the show that hit me on a really personal level because of some stuff I'm going through right now. I'm gonna be completely honest.
Yeah.
So that was a little bit painful, and I'm just but at the same time, it also felt I felt like a lot of the drama, especially in the last third of the show, was very manufactured, I suppose you could say. It's just I don't feel like this is how this would have happened if this was real people. We can get more into detail on it once we get there, because there's a lot of that's that starts in episode 10, basically. But yeah, what I really like about this show, one of the things it kind of hit me at about that 3/4 mark, is that it's kind of funny how much I wish. How do I want to put this? It's okay, when we did our Love Live episodes, and I've talked about how annoying it is when shows can't do visual storytelling and they just kind of force feed stuff to the audience. It's just you have a character just come out and say exactly what they're feeling all the time, because it's they can't trust the audience to figure that stuff out. Early seasons of Love Live were real bad about this. Later seasons of Love Live, I think, got better, but still for a large part, it was just kind of characters saying how they feel. this show is very subtle.
Yes. Very.
I feel like the show really gets, at least from like getting through the emotional beats of the characters, it's really good at like kind of the show don't tell. Because you will have like, there's a couple of scenes. I remember one in particular with Kiwi after like, with some stuff that happens with them later in the episode, or later in a later episode. They'll be talking and they're like having a phone conversation, and Kiwi is very obviously, you know, like bloviating, like being, yeah, you know, I'm the greatest, I'm just so cool. But you see the look on their face and that's not what they actually are feeling. And they don't need to tell us that. They don't have to have the characters say that to us. We can see that with how they're behaving and interacting, and it's good for my soul.
The other fun thing is sometimes when things are said more explicitly, it is in like the lyrics to the songs that Jelly is singing, which I think is fun.
Yes, that was also very fun. It's just like the song lyrics of all the songs in the show are very much like relevant to the emotions and the feelings, and I'm like, oh, this is I consume this. But yeah, really good subtle storytelling on this show, which is something I always appreciate. So
do we want to talk about the characters?
Yes! Would you like to start or should I?
I will start. I will start with... So Mahiru, she's the artist. So not like musical artist. She is an artist. Mm-hmm. She's very like normal high school girl. Like kind of reserved, secretly really weird, but trying to fit in is her vibe, right? She has brown hair. I think she just has brown eyes, chin length. At the very beginning of the show, she very much is like the just hanging around with her school friends and also trying to hide the fact that she secretly loves to do art.
And then our secondary main character is Kano, and she is our idol girly, sort of. So her whole thing is she's got like blonde hair with green streaks in it. She's always wearing like really big jackets. I love her outfit so much. She's so cute. And her whole thing is that she used to be an idol. She is not an idol anymore. And so instead she is trying to become like an anonymous singer online and like get famous that way. And we'll talk about why that is as we get into the show.
Next person you, I guess, get introduced to in person is May. She is a classically trained pianist and also a idol fangirl for the idol group that Kano used to be in, specifically a big Kano bias. She has black hair, blonde bangs that she specifically got cut so she could look like Kano from her idol days.
Yeah.
And she's a disaster, but we love her.
She's a fun disaster, though. Yes. And then our last character is Kiwi. Sorry, Kiwi Watase. I was telling Sarah before this, I was trying to bring up a list of characters just so I would have them as easy reference, and so many websites spelled Kiwi's name Kiwi, like with a W, and I'm like,
they're a New Zealander.
That's not, no. But yeah, Kiwi is fun. Kiwi is the VTuber. So yeah, they have like pink hair with like kind of this weird ponytail.
It's like a Honoka ponytail.
It's like a Honoka ponytail, but it comes straight out of the top of their head. And their hair is like bubblegum pink, and their bangs are a circle.
And they have a flesh fang.
Sarah, I want to love Kiwi so much, but I can't get over the flesh fang. Sarah, I hate the flesh fang so much.
Yep.
Sarah, I hate the flesh fang so much. Sarah, I hate the flesh fang. Why is it so hard to just not just give them a regular fang? Why does it have to be a flesh fang? Why is it skin? Why is it skin fang? I hate it. Listen, I may or may not have a video coming out eventually about like art pet peeves, and that is one of the biggest ones on the list. Stop it with the flesh fang, I beg you. It looks so creepy.
The flesh fang, I know it's actually controversial in anime spheres. There are some people who beloved the flesh fang. But Star and I are not fans.
The Flesh Fang. I am in a cult of hatred against the Flesh Fang. Get it out. Because, like, how much harder would it be to just give them, like, an actual, just draw a horizontal line where the top of their mouth is, and then just paint the fang a tooth color?
The problem is some people like the Flesh Fang, and that is probably what happened.
Oh,
I know.
hate the Flesh Fang. Kiwi's great. I love Kiwi as a character. Want to take them to a dentist to get rid of the Flesh Fang. Would you go to a dentist or a plastic surgeon for a Flesh Fang?
I mean, I guess it depends.
Gosh. Yeah, it's like, what is this made of?
We don't know.
It is forever a mystery. God. But yeah, so Kiwi is our VTuber. And if you haven't figured out, I may have accidentally slipped a few times, but the reason we are using they pronouns for Kiwi is it is revealed eventually that they are, like, they pretty much, as close as you can get without using the actual words, they are non-binary.
Yes.
So, you know, like, they themselves are more like slightly feminine presenting just in their own appearance, but their VTuber is very masculine, very much a boy character.
Nox
and
Ryugasaki.
so they yes, Nox Ryugasaki is the name of the VTuber. And that character is done in CGI. The lip sync is real bad.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I get that you're trying to show that it's a VTuber, and so they just have, like, mouth open, mouth closed. But real VTubers are much more expressive than that. And I just,
VTuber.
Kiwi's got the money for better rigging is all I'm saying.
Yes. Yes, because Kiwi clearly has money.
Kiwi.
Kiwi.
Kiwi. See, if their hair was green, it would make sense,
Kiwi.
but they're pink.
Well, it's because they're from New Zealand, clearly.
Yeah. Anyway, so those are our four, and so these four come together. They eventually form a team called Jelly, which is Jellee. And so they all have their parts to play in this group of people who kind of came together to put on this, like, music project.
Yes.
And that is what the show centers around.
So to start us off at the very beginning, you meet Mahiru slash Yoru. She also goes by Yoru. That's her artist name.
Everybody in this show has multiple names.
They have multiple names.
And
but
it's
like
going to get confusing.
It's because they're all Gen Z, so they all have usernames.
Usernames or past life identities.
Right. So Mahiru, she is go with the flow personality, and it is about to be Halloween. She lives in Shibuya, and she's gonna go to the big Halloween party down in Shibuya Square, meet up with her friends. And at some point, she sees a mural in Shibuya that she had painted when she was young. And she has so much trauma around this painting.
Yeah, so Mahiru's whole thing is that she used to be an artist, and she used to love doing art. She loved it a lot, and she even got to do this mural, like this big, colorful jellyfish mural under this overpass in Shibuya. And she thought it was the coolest. And then you see a little flashback of baby Mahiru going to show her friends the mural, and all of her friends not realizing that it's her mural, kind of make fun of it, call it weird. And so kind of ever since then, Mahiru's been kind of ashamed. She stopped drawing. And I just want to say, fuck those girls, by the way.
Fuck the haters.
Fuck the haters. But yeah, so Mahiru has very, very complicated feelings about art. It's like her friends, her current friends know her as an artist, but she hasn't really drawn in a long time, you learn.
Or at least not in a way that anyone publicly knows, because she apparently does have like it's not a Twitter, they have a different name for it.
It's Twitter,
where she does tweet her art clearly, and it's more or less active. That's the one where Yoru, the name, comes from. But nobody knows her secret identity of enjoying art, actually, because she doesn't want to be weird. She wants to go with the flow and fit in.
Secret.
Yes.
But so at some point, like kind of in the current day, she is walking around and she sees that there is an idol performing like a street concert in front of your mural, and is like taped a bunch of posters up over the mural. And so she like daydreams about telling the idol off and being like, stop defacing my art. But she's too shy and she doesn't say anything.
But another mysterious girl stands up next to her and yells at the other idol.
Yep. And it's basically like, hey, stop defiling that mural because I really like that mural. And then Mahiru's just like, bring! It's like, this person said that they like my art. I'm going to stalk them and find out who they are.
So it turns out it is Kano. So she has been so inspired by the mural that she has decided to create this new identity, which is Jelly, the Jelly account. Because she loves the mural, she got inspired to write songs based off the mural, and because of that, she wants to start her own music project and invites Mahiru to join her with the music project.
Yeah, I forget. Do we learn now? Because we learned in this episode that she used to be an idol. And it is in the first episode that we learn what happened. Well, not everything that happened, but we learned the basics. So we find out that Kano wants to do this anonymous music project because she used to be a popular idol. She was like a really popular idol in this one group called Sunflower Dolls, or just Sun Dolls is how they shorten it. But she got kicked out of the group because she punched another member.
Hell yeah.
And there was like a whole scandal about it. And so she's basically been ousted from the industry. But she thinks that if she can sing anonymously, she can like get back at all the haters, essentially. So Kano basically asks her, is like, hey, do you want to collaborate together? Like, you can do the art and I'll do the singing and make the songs, and then we can make music together. And Mahiru says no at first. Because she's very in her own feelings of, I'm just ordinary, I should not aspire to be anything more than ordinary. So she turns her down at first, but then on actual Halloween, like a few days later, they meet up on accident again.
Very specifically in front of the Jellyfish mural.
In front of the Jellyfish mural again, yeah.
iDOL is still dancing.
Yeah, iDOL has put like big posters up over the entire mural. And like the both of them are just kind of there. And then what ends up happening is that Kano borrows a guitar from some random guy and then takes over. The iDOL is live streaming, by the way.
Yes.
And so they take over the iDOL's live stream and she performs a little song, and Mahiru like takes some lipstick that she has and draws the face of Kano's little jellyfish icon over the mural after ripping down all the iDOL's posters. And so they kind of get too hype and they make this big scene about it.
君と出会えた夜の海その輝きに恋したんだ街のネオンに染まらないでどうか君が描いた色できらめいて
And then they hand the guitar back and they're like, hi, we're Jelly, bye.
And also, just the other thing to note is that the song that the other iDOL was singing was a Sunflower Dolls song that Kano had written. And so she covers her own song, essentially, with the acoustic guitar.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, it was the same song that the iDOL was singing.
Yes, and it's also the one that was inspired by the Jellyfish mural, you find out later on. But it very much is like the lyrics are all about, like, your true self is hidden behind your outward self, which is the theme of the show. I would say,
very much.
Overall, out of first episodes of any anime, I would say this is probably one of the strongest first episodes I've seen from any show.
It very much is just like, it all kinds of comes full circle by the end.
And it almost, I feel like you could even just watch this first episode as a standalone. Like, if this was released as, like, I don't know.
An OVA.
Like an OVA, I would feel like this feels like a complete OVA.
Yeah. So there's like this metaphor running through the whole thing. And we should talk about the title of the show as well, why it's called that.
Yes.
So the show is called Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. And so you see like a couple of little flashbacks to baby Mahiru, who just like loves sea creatures, but especially jellyfish. And you see flashbacks to like this trip to the aquarium where the director is telling her about like, oh, well, you know, jellyfish can't shine on their own. If they're in darkness, and they can't do anything. But after they've absorbed light from some other source, and they can shine super brilliantly. And that ends up coming back at the end of the episode when when Mahiru finally agrees to do this project with Kano. She says, I've always been super ordinary, and I haven't been able to shine on my own, but maybe if I'm with you, we can shine together.
Yes.
And I just...
And the other important thing to note is her not Twitter tag. Her first name is Yoru, last name is Umizuki. So night and then moon sea, right? So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
her
yeah.
name is Night. So anytime there's allusion to the night in the song, it's like, oh,
Yeah. There's one set of song lyrics later that's like, that's the night that I love. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's gay.
Gay.
But yeah, so that's the first episode.
Yeah. Then you meet the disaster.
Now it's time to meet the disaster character.
I love May.
She's pretty great. I do enjoy her. So the girls are now working together, as in like they get jobs together to save money to make this music because they're like, we want to make videos and we want to get music composed and we got to do all this. And Mahid was like, well, we don't have money for that. So they start working at this cafe, and we come back to this cafe like pretty constantly.
Yes.
It's like their secondary location.
The day job.
Yeah. And so they're talking about how much money they would need for like a hypothetical music video. And Kano's like, man, if only like someone could, you know, rich people sometimes take in patrons, like, are sometimes patrons of the arts. If only that would happen to us. And then at exactly that moment, May walks in and dunks like, I think it's like $10,000
She's got
into like
money.
the tip jar at this cafe. And she's like, I want to patronize you. And both the girls are like, huh?
Because May is a rich girl who also is obsessed with Kano when she was an idol. Back when she
Yes.
was, her stage name was Nonoka. So she
Yeah.
does refer to Kano as Nono all the time.
Yeah, she calls her Nonotan.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so she basically explains where she comes from is that she was like this huge fan of Kano back when she was an idol, and she's like, I want to support you as an idol, and then you can, you know, dye your hair back to normal, you can go back to being who you used to be, and then you can go and rejoin Sunflower Dolls. And Kano's like, no, just take the money back, I don't want it if that's what you're supporting. And so May's kind of crushed by this, but due to shenaniganery, they end up accidentally with each other's bags.
Yep.
And so that's not the last we see of May because they have to meet up again to give her back back and get their stuff back. In her bag is like a recording of some of her piano music. And so the girls are like, oh shit, she plays music. Bring!
We need a composer.
We do need a composer, and she knows how to make music. And so they go to lunch to like give the bags back, and they try to convince her again. It's like, hey, can you support me as I am now and write music with us? And she refuses. But then after she kind of like storms off and leaves, Kano like has this flashbacks and remembers. It's like, why do I know her? And then she remembers why she knows her.
So May had met Kano way back at like one of their first meet and greets, like forever ago. Again, she looked completely different because you find out she did dye her hair to look like Kano.
Yeah. So this is a thing. Do we ever find out like what her nationality is?
No.
Because I was looking and I was curious. Her full name, I've got the Wikipedia up, is May Kim Anok Takanashi. And so I'm like, okay, she's obviously like mixed or something, but I don't think we ever find out like what nationality her parents are. And I'm so curious because Kim would imply like maybe Korean or something. There's a couple different places that could come from, but Anouk is like Dutch.
Yeah, so presumably she might be mixed.
Yeah, and she has orange hair before she dyes it. And I'm just like, I want to know more about you, baby.
I know.
I'm curious.
A mystery.
But yeah, we never find out in the show. I was looking if there was any like external information ever given about this character, and as far as I know, we don't know.
No,
and so
not
I'm very curious.
I know that currently they're like in the middle of running a manga based off of the show, so maybe we'll get more information. But who knows?
We'll see. We shall see, I suppose. But yeah, and so May used to be like, she used to get teased a lot. For like, because she was a ginger. And everyone's like, gingers have no soul. And she's like, not actually that, but you get the idea.
I mean, maybe.
And I don't know. But yeah, and so she ends up just stumbling into this meet and greet. She had never heard of the idol group before, but she ends up in the line for Kano or Nonoka's like signings. And then like Nonoka ends up giving her like this whole spiel. It's like, wow, you play music? That's incredible. And like gives her like a picture, and she signed it. let's play me some songs one day when you're famous.
Yep.
And so basically ever since then, May has been this huge Nonaka, in parentheses, Kano stan.
Yep.
Like crazy huge fan. Was heartbroken when she dropped out of the idol group. And now is just like, my idol has left me. This is a betrayal. I can't do this anymore. But what ends up happening is she leaves their lunch kind of like get together and goes straight to go take a music exam at her school. And the other two end up following her there. And they kind of like go to sit in. And Kano's like waving at her. It's like, play me a song just like you promised. I remember you now. And she nails it.
Yeah, she does. Let's go, May.
Yeah. And so she nails it. And then at the end of the episode, she's kind of like, I want to support all of you. It's like, I want to support who you were, but I also want to support who you are now.
Yes.
And so now the group has a composer.
Yay!
Da, 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 da.
And then from there, they're like, okay, we got a composer. We have a singer/lyricist. We have someone who's doing our art. So why don't we make a music video? If only we had someone who was good at making videos.
Bring Kiwi.
So Mahiru has been talking to Kiwi kind of throughout the show up till this point, but like only over the phone or through text. So it's like, this is a mysterious person that she talks to sometimes.
Yeah, we learn like Kiwi's like the student council president. They know each other, but they go to different schools now. Kiwi's like this big hot shot. They're like this huge popular VTuber. And whenever they're on video calls together, Kiwi is using the video, like the VTuber persona.
Yes, Nox Ryukasagi.
Yeah. Who's got like this kind of spiky black hair, and they're wearing like this black like latex, or not latex, spandex kind of like superhero suit kind of. They look very much like Super Sentai, but without the masks.
Yes, exactly. Like a mix between Super Sentai and American Superhero, almost.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
But because Kiwi has knowledge with YTube, I think it is in this one.
Yeah, YTube is what they call it.
And VTuber shit, they get tapped to be like, hey, can you make a music video for a cool new project we're doing?
Yeah, and so Kiwi eventually agrees. There is one thing that's so funny in this episode, and I will kick myself if I don't talk about it. So over the course of the episode, we at some points see, like, we see Kiwi's computer screen and what they're working on. And there's a handful of times where we see their computer screen while they are actively working on this music video. And it's so funny because there's like 3 things in the entire timeline.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
how?
Unless those are nested scenes.
I mean, they must be.
They have to be, right? Because otherwise it's just like, oh, yeah, I've just gotten started. Yeah, you've dropped 3 JPEGs into your timeline. That's not what have you even been working on? But I'm like, they must be nested scenes, right? But like, if they were nested scenes, it's so weird because they're all on like different timelines.
Well, you can still,
so
if it's like Premiere, you would still have your layers nested on different.
Well, yeah, but like in the final timeline with like all the nested compositions together, they can be like all on the same one. And it's just like, it's just funny because there's like timeline 1 has like one thing on it, timeline 2 has like one thing on it, timeline 3 has like one thing on it. I'm like those, and then you see the music video at the end of the episode. It's like crazy fucking motion graphics animation. I'm like,
Kiwi just downloaded one of like those like pre-made stock video things off of the Adobe Asset Store.
Kiwi, that's cheating.
I mean, if they have the money to pay for the license, why not?
That's cheating.
But overall, the Kiwi episode, the other big part is about who Kiwi actually is, aside from the voice on the other side of the phone.
Yeah. So Kiwi and Mahiru have been friends since childhood, and when they were in elementary school together, like Kiwi very much put on airs of like, I'm the best, I'm the coolest, I'm a superhero, and everybody around me knows it. But then the 2 of them ended up going to separate middle schools, and when Kiwi tried to do the whole I'm the best, I'm the coolest in their class, everybody thought they were weird. And so Kiwi ends up like not making any friends, kind of ends up becoming this social outcast, and eventually just stops going to school altogether.
To go VTubing full time.
I mean, they got to make good money off of it. Like, they have like 2,000 plus concurrent viewers, and for a VTuber, like, those are good numbers.
I mean, it's because they can stream during the day while everyone's at school.
Yeah. Except I don't think they do. They show
That's
like
true.
what Kiwi does during the day, and it's like they go shopping, spend gratuitous amount of money on snacks, and then spend all the rest of their money on microtransactions.
Well, because they can spend time late at night streaming while all the kids have to go to sleep to go to school.
Yep. Got that streamer lifestyle, paying all the money for those gacha games.
But up until this point, Kiwi had been kind of lying to Mahiru about their school life, kind of making up a grandiose school world where they are loved and they are the best at school. But Mahiru doesn't know this.
Yeah, and it's like, this is never outwardly said necessarily, but it's like you get just through the fucking visuals. It's so good. It's like you get it through the visuals and the way it's paced and the way these scenes are laid out. You get that Kiwi still wants to be this hero and still wants to be seen as this hero. And then that is kind of where the lies come from. It's like, you don't need to worry. If I tell you the truth, you're going to worry about me and you're going to see me as weak. And so I'm going to tell you that I'm the student council president and that I go and hang out with all my friends and it's super fun and I'm doing amazing. Meanwhile, Kiwi like can't even go to the store without like having a panic attack if they see like students from their high school. It's bad. They're like a real shut-in.
Yeah. But eventually the truth comes out.
It comes out on accident.
Yes.
So Mahiru's school is doing their school festival and she's been trying to get Kiwi to come and Kiwi kind of keeps like brushing her off. And eventually, like Mahiru sees two students with the uniforms from Kiwi's high school. And so she's like, oh my gosh, hey, you guys are students from this high school. Do you know Kiwi? And is like, yeah, you know, they're the student council president and everything, like has a lot of friends. And then they're like, oh, I mean, we know a Kiwi, but they like don't come to school anymore. And they're kind of weird. And so once Mahiru finds that out, breaks the news, is like, yeah, hey, I talked to some kids from your school today. What's going on? And then there's like this whole metaphor with the school play.
Yep.
That I thought was really cute.
Essentially, Mahiru kind of humiliates herself on stage to convince the god to come out of the cave for her school play.
Yeah, it's like the Amaterasu story where like the goddess of the sun shut herself inside this cave because she was upset. I don't remember about what. And then there's this one character that Mahiru is playing in the play who basically just like does this weird dance to get Amaterasu to come out. And so it's very much in the play, it's to get the sun goddess to come out but it connects to what's happening in the real world. And you can very much tell it's like she's doing this to kind of get Kiwi to kind of come out of their shell.
And it definitely works because I think, again, so much is not said, but definitely the vibe is Kiwi's like, I'm usually the superhero helping out Mahiru, but now she's helping me out, so I'll get out of the cave just for her. And you're like, wow.
Yeah. A lot of subtle storytelling going on. Like, okay, so if you haven't watched the show and you're just here to listen to us talk about it and you've never seen it, this is one of those shows, like, you know, we watch a lot of garbage on this podcast. We watch a lot of shows that are, like, not necessarily the greatest. This is definitely one of those shows I would highly recommend, like, go watch it. Because, like, yeah, we're going to talk about stuff, but this is one of those shows that, like, if you want to fully experience it, you really do genuinely need to watch it, and it's a good watch, too.
And it definitely plays into the visual medium, right? Like,
absolutely.
There's parts where not even just about the storytelling being subtle. Sometimes it really is just the visuals, like what they decide to show on screen or not show, what becomes blurred or not blurred. It's very clever.
There's a lot of that going around, and it's just like, it makes me wish I could watch the show as an English dub because I want to actually like just look at the screen because there's fun stuff going on. But no, I got to read subtitles like a pleb. Anyway, that's episode 3. At the end of episode 3, we do get our first music video, and we also find out that Kiwi has like taken also knows music too. Yeah. Takes the original like music composition and turns it into little beeps and boops.
Beeps and boops.
Beeps and boops, and then we get our first music video as the end credits.
I'm a psycho god. Yeah. 私最強無敵のガール夢と希望で胸が光るほらこんなに世界は輝いてるそれ 夜は君がくれた魔法の力まるで宝石みたいだ
And also, it's pretty cute because also Kiwi does confess to the other girls before they get started in the music video, and the only response from them is not judgment. Kano's just like, "Hey, 2 dropouts, we're even," which is great.
Oh gosh, I do remember that. I don't remember what episode that was in, but it was around here.
Yeah, it was around here.
But the episode 4, there's not a whole lot that goes on, so we can kind of breeze through it. So what's happening is, so Kano's old idol group, Sundolls, they're working on a comeback because I guess they had to take a hiatus after the incident. And so they're releasing like a big, like, I see they're like a double A side single. I don't necessarily know what that means. And they're releasing it next Wednesday. And so Kano gets the rest of the group together, doesn't really explain why, but says that she wants her next song to come out next Wednesday. And all the girls are like, we have school. Or Kiwi's like, I can't be doing that. It's like, that's too much. And Kano ends up getting very upset. She goes to take a walk by herself. And then Kano's sister comes home. Because the two of them live together. And Kano's sister kind of spills the beans a little bit more about what happened in the idol group. Apparently their parents are divorced and their mom is Sundoll's producer.
And she's real shitty.
Yeah, she kind of sucks.
She really
but
sucks.
She's got like, she sucks, but like she's got the weird charisma that makes you think that she doesn't suck.
Yeah. She sucks as a mom, but doesn't suck as a producer is kind of more of the thing.
Yeah, no, like she was honestly like a really interesting character because like I was analyzing my own reactions to this character and we get more of her later, but it's just like, okay, this is obviously a character that's very charismatic and like draws people towards her. But does that make me hate her less? And should it? And it's just like I was deeply analyzing my own reactions to this character as someone who is won over by charisma fairly easily. I'm just like, is this real or is she just saying the thing that's going to get her ahead? Very, very interesting antagonist, I would say, this mom character.
Yes.
We don't get much of her until later, though. So basically once they find out, Kano wants to put out the song super quickly because she wants to like get her mom's attention and kind of prove herself. When Kano comes back, they're all like, hey, we can't help you out with this for like over the week, but let's pull an all-nighter and get a new song done like right now.
So they pull their all-nighter. They get this is like the first time all 4 of them are really working together too, so they all become very close with each other.
The bonding sesh.
And then you get a post-credit scene where you hear the song and you see the music video, which again, the graphics are great for only having a couple things in your timeline.
Yeah. It's like, geez Louise, they put this together fast.
今の私を見つけてくれた君にちゃんと言えてない言葉当たり前なんて思わないで返事をしなきゃなただいまってありがとうって
You do find out that the video goes viral, and the reasoning is because they pushed it out so late at night that they didn't double check the file they uploaded on YTube, and it's cursed.
Yeah, so the sister is like wailing drunkenly, like kind of in the evening because she's upset about something. And they accidentally use the file of Kano's recording where you can hear her saying shit like, help me in the background. And someone uploads that clip in isolation to like Twitter or whatever, and it's just like the song is so fucking cursed, but that ends up getting the actual music video a whole bunch of views, and I'm like, you know what?
That
is
would
actually
happen.
exactly what would happen. I can see this like absolutely going viral on TikTok and people being like, oh, this song is cursed. Oh no, actually wait, it's kind of a bop if you like ignore the fact that there's like
it's pickpock. Pickpock.
pickpock.
They have fake TikTok in the show too.
Yeah, they have like store brand
We have YTube and pickpock.
YTube, pickpock, blitter. I don't know what they have.
know.
They always
called
show
Y.
it so
I don't know.
quickly, and I just never get a chance to actually like read what it says on the screen because they all go so fast and there's so much
So
text.
I
But
think
anyway,
that actually goes into something, Star, that you probably don't know about. So I was following the show while it comes out because I'm a seasonal anime watcher. One thing that was fun is the social media accounts for Jellyfish Can't Swim in the Night. Like, played like ARG, like they were the girls tweeting or posting the videos or commenting on the TikTok. Yeah.
No, I love that.
They also throughout had fake fans and fake haters commenting too, which they would reference the fake haters things in later episodes, but it was like fake accounts for promotion for the show.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I genuinely fucking love that. Like, honestly, if my webcomic was not a fantasy series where social media does not exist, I would absolutely make, like, fake Twitter accounts for my characters. I know, like, some webcomics that have done that. But no, listen, like, I have an idea for, like, what might end up being my next webcomic, you know, in, like, 20 years after Cast Off is done. And that one takes place in the modern day. And, like, one of the characters is canonically, like, an influencer and Twitch streamer and all this. And I'm like, that leaves potential for, like, fake social media accounts.
Let's go.
I want to because it's fun.
Hey,
It's fun. It's
Star
fun.
wants
It's
to catfish
fun.
people.
I don't want to catfish people. It's role play. It's fun. Anyway, so yeah, I loved this twist because like, it's like there's some stuff later on in the series that like, okay, this feels forced.
Yep.
But like this exact thing feels so realistic to how this would actually play out. And it's very funny.
People would not listen to the whole song, clip the very end. Everyone says it's cursed. And then a few days later, they're like, oh, hey, you know that sound everyone's using on Pickpock? I like their music.
It's like, yeah, the song's actually pretty good if you listen to the whole thing. And then, like, people start sharing the other songs. It's like, oh, shit, we're going, like, viral a little bit.
Yeah. And then from there, because they start going viral, they start getting their first pieces of fan art. Mm-hmm. Notably, one of them is from someone who's really famous and really good and posts a picture of Jelly on not Twitter.
The little character that is...
the virtual idol Jelly.
Yeah, Kano's, like, virtual self. But yeah, and so this whole episode is basically Mahiru has a complex.
Yeah.
Because she's still not super duper confident in her art. And now that the videos are being more popular, there's people being like, wow, this art's really amateur. You guys should get a different illustrator for this. Mm-hmm. And it ends up making Mahiru, like, really upset. And, like, Kano tries to cheer her up. But eventually Mahiru she dwells on this for most of the episode, but then she ends up using that frustration to fuel her rise to power. Yeah. And she like signs up for art classes and she's like, okay, maybe I do want to take my art more seriously. And so she like signs up for art classes. She just like uses this frustration to fuel her fire. And I'm like, hell yeah. Let's go, girly.
Yeah.
And then something gay happens.
Oh, they go to the aquarium together, the most Yuri thing you can do. And then...
Okay, two gay things happen. They go to the aquarium together, and this comes up later. They're kind of joking around with each other, and Mahiru tells Kano, it's like, just make an aquarium in Shibuya. Just do it. You know, just kind of like as a joke, and that'll put a pin in that. That'll come back later. And then at the very end of the episode, they're celebrating. They release a new song that gets popular right away because they've got some weight behind them now. Mm-hmm. And the girls are like all hanging out at like New Year's. It's at a shrine. They're like goofing off in the snow, and at some point like they're just kind of like, you know, they're playing, they're goofing, and Kano gets in the moment and like gives Mahiru a little kiss on the cheek. And Sarah, how do you feel about that?
It's not even the kiss, it's the reaction to the kiss. You know, like the kiss on the cheek. Tell me all about it. The Love Live girls do it. It's cute. The reaction to the kiss is Mahiru is like, oh, blushy blushy, and then Kano sits up, holds her lips, blushes, and then is like, I gotta go.
Yeah, she just like scampers away. It is like, girl, you're not beating the allegations.
No. And then you get the credit song, which is titled Shibuya Aquarium, about making your own magical aquarium world for just the two of you. And you're like,
I believe this is the song that talks about this is the night that I love in the lyrics, Yoru being night and Yoru also being Mahiru's handle online. It's just like, girl, it's gay.
I think you wrote a love song.
I think you wrote a love song for your illustrator.
Whoa.
Pretty gay.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah.
It's a good ship. There's definitely, so the struggle is when this came out again as a seasonal watcher, full disclosure, ending of the show, there's not really a resolution aside from like song lyrics to if they are dating. So there definitely was a lot of people feeling let down at the end where there wasn't like an explicit like they're dating. But I guess I'm still happy with how it is. I feel like watching anime, I wouldn't expect more. And honestly, reading the song lyrics, you're like, well, it's like the song's basically a confession, guys.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing about it is it's like, it's not a show about a love story.
Exactly.
It's very much, it's a show about finding yourself in all kinds of different ways. And like each character has their own way that they are trying to find themselves throughout the course of the show. And it's really, really, and like, so the conclusion of the show kind of concludes with all of these characters have worked through their shit and they've kind of found confidence in who they are and who they want to be. And honestly, it's like, it's, this is going to sound corny, but like this just, the way you could say it is it's not a story about loving each other. It's a story about learning to love yourself.
Yeah.
And like how that manifests for different people.
And also very much a story about being like 17 and 18 years old. Because the characters really act that way, right?
They really, really do. And like some of the stuff that happens, like the main skerfuffles that happen in the second half of the anime, I'm like, this hurts me because I've been through this.
Yeah.
It's like, this causes me physical pain because I have lived this.
Yeah.
Like both as a teenager and as an adult. And like even right now, like I'm struggling with some stuff that I'm not going to go into. But it's just like, holy fuck, they just nailed me right in the heart with this shit. Because it's like, it's so relatable, right? I feel like anyone who has been a teenage girl can relate to at least one of these characters in some kind of way. And it's so relatable that it's honestly painful.
And who of us haven't had a close relationship with a female friend when you were a teenager that you didn't ever resolve?
Hey. But yeah, I mean, it's really a story about learning to love yourself.
Yeah.
And in that instance, I feel like I didn't need the romance to be happy with it. And so like I personally am okay with the resolution. Because I'm never focused on romance anyway, but also it's just like, it didn't feel like the show was going for that. It felt, I almost feel like if it had been canon at the end, it would have cheapened the ending.
Here's my thought. We'll have spoilers for the ending. Why not? My thought is, I feel like I would consider this still a Yuri. Like the way the ending plays out, the lyrics to the final song. I'm just saying, because it like the lyrics to the final song, there's a part where it's like, even if I can't see the snow Yuki, right, being her mom's name, I'm still like enveloped in the night, Yoru, and I'm like, we got resolution. It just isn't explicit. It's explicit in a subtle way. It's not said out loud, but there's so much in the show that isn't. So I'm satisfied.
At the same time, I'm going to take kind of like a reverse tack to like people who are disappointed in how the show ends, because I feel like from my opinion, personally, and people can fight me about this, whatever, I almost feel like the way they kind of led up to this relationship, I feel like if they were canon at the end, it almost would have felt a little too codependent.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Yeah, because like we get some stuff later, and we'll talk about this later, but we're talking about it now, so we're talking about it now. The girls kind of talk about, it's like Mahiru got back into art because Kano said, draw for me. And then later, Kano has kind of like a crisis of faith type of thing. And then Mahiru's like, I'm drawing for you, so sing for me. And so I almost feel like by the end of the show, they aren't leaning on each other so much, they kind of just like learn to, like, Mahiru learns to love art for herself because she loves to do it, and Kano learns to love singing because it is something that she loves. She like it's about people finding their passions again. And so I almost feel like if the show had ended with the two of them ending up in a relationship together, I almost feel like it would have cheapened the whole thing of just like, these are girls that can only love each other and their passions when they are with the other person. Yeah. And I almost feel like that would have been a lot worse for the messaging.
That's fair. Though, I don't know. I still have my own thoughts. I'm like, they're
no,
together.
Yeah, I mean, I still ship it. They're still gay. But it's just like, it feels like the case where it's like, if we got a season 2 of this and then they didn't end up together, then I would be disappointed. But for the sake of this story in isolation, and as a narrative about learning to enjoy the things that bring you joy and learning to love the things that you love for your own reasons and exploring who you are as a person, I'm happy with how it ended. Yes. I didn't need them to be in a canonical relationship. And also,
again, the way the relationship was, it's very much you're 17 or 18 years old and you don't know how you feel, which I think it's done so well.
Yeah, that too, very much.
And then speaking of being true to yourself and also standalone episodes, episode 6, we talk about best girl, Baba.
Oh yeah, you want to go into this, Sarah?
I love her. So basically, back in episode 1, remember that idol that was dancing in front of the jellyfish portrait?
I do remember, Sarah. Is she a major character now?
Not really. She's kind of a character that shows up like only a couple times more, but in this episode she is.
She's like the main character of this episode specifically.
Yes. So she basically sends them a threatening email being like, hey, help me out with my next song or else, because you guys got famous only because of me. So hang out with me.
It's like, so it's like, you guys got famous because you took over my live stream. I was like, I made you. And also you wrecked my posters and you owe me like $100 for that because those were expensive to print. And so she wants to commission a song from the group because she's been trying to be an idol for like a really long time. She's in her early 30s right now.
Yep, 31.
And her agency has basically said, if your next song isn't a hit, you can't keep doing this.
Yes. And not only is she 31, pretending she's like a teenager, she also has a child.
She's a divorced single mom.
I love her. And she's great because sometimes she's mom mode, and then whenever she's in front of fans or on stage, she gets cutesy idol mode, and I'm like, you're perfect.
I love how you just like the older characters who are still trying to be idols, because you like Konomi from Idolmaster too.
You're right.
Sarah just likes the old idols.
I love old people.
Sarah just loves old people because she loved Eternal Boys too. Sarah just
love Eternal Boys, you're right.
Oh my gosh, no, I just realized, because like Konomi from Idolmaster, her last name is Baba, and then so is this character. Her last name is Shizue Baba, and isn't that like kind of a pun on like old woman or something?
Yeah,
in Japanese,
like a baba, like a auntie. Yeah.
But
the girls decide like, sure, we'll help because we're indebted. But then also, as the episode goes on, you realize that she's actually like a really good mom to her daughter. And then the other cute thing is her daughter is a really big fan of her mom. She and May end up bonding about both having their own top idol that they'll support no matter what. Ariel, the daughter, is top idol being mom.
Yeah. She's really cute.
In the end, Ariel's daughter gets bullied. Mom idol ducks out of a concert to go take care of her daughter, and then comes back and basically lets all her fans know the truth.
She's like, hey, not only am I 31, I'm also divorced and I have a child.
But at the same time, while she's gone, the other girls cover for her. So this is technically their first live performance.
Yeah, they're like all wearing masks and they have like these random outfits on. And so they perform one of their songs just like on stage to stall while her idol name is Miko, but her actual name is Shizue Baba. And Sarah's just been calling her Baba, so I will stick with that.
Yes.
She's like goes off to rescue her daughter from bullies who are bullying the daughter because of the mom's idol nonsense.
They're like, your mom is cringe.
Your mom is cringe. and then the baby daughter like stands up to them and they're like, no, she's not. I love my mom. She's the coolest. And then the then like Baba hears this, is just like, oh, I want to be honest with my fans and not lie about being 17 anymore because my daughter likes me and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Side tangent, I love the outfit that Kano has during this one little side performance. I'm just like, if I were to cosplay from this show, which character would I do? And like, so Kano's just like normal civilian outfit is so fucking cute.
It's super cute.
I'm torn because like, you know, Mahiru's the illustrator and she's got this really cute outfit. But at the same time, like Kano is like, used to be an idol and now is doing your own thing. Oh, that strikes me in my heart and my core, my soul. And I love her too. And they're all cute. They're all cute. I can't stand it.
They're all cute.
Sarah, if you cosplayed one of these girls, who would you do?
I'll clearly be Kiwi. Clearly Kiwi.
How would you do the prosthetic flesh fang?
Well, I guess Prozaid. Gotta glue my lip to my other lip.
Or Nar. Just like get like a silicone flesh fang.
We suffer.
You always cosplay the gremlin, so that tracks.
I love the gremlins. Also, Kiwi's the short one. And pink hair. That's my vibes.
That too. Yes.
So then from there, we go back to the main plot.
Yeah. We took a little side tangent, but now we're back to the main plot.
Which is fair, because Shizue Baba, top idol, Tio. But then we get into like this is where like the show started losing me, was episode 7 with the motorcycle.
Episode
situation.
7 is very much just like metaphors and developing characters who will never be relevant again.
Yes, there's a random motorcycle lady. I guess context. Kano and Kiwi go off to take a motorcycle school while Mahiru and Mei focus on their schooling and getting prepared for life after high school, right?
Yeah, it's very much an episode focusing on the girls' futures. And like there is some good stuff in this because like the whole thing, there's like a whole thing where Kano's trying to learn how to use the motorcycle and she's trying to like be on this little like slightly raised balance beam that basically like it's a way that you know, train to stay in a straight line on a motorcycle, and she keeps failing it because she's distracted and she's like trying to look down, and eventually this cool motorcycle girl that the two of them befriend at this camp tells her, it's like, you can't look down at the wheels, you have to look ahead at what you're aiming for. And it's like, yeah, it's a metaphor, but that metaphor was basically the entire episode.
Yeah. Star, did you have to take motorcycle classes?
I did. I have a motorcycle license for anybody who doesn't know. It was like a 2-day thing. I just woke up real early in the morning and like went and drove around on it. But so my thing is, I have a motorcycle license. I can't drive a motorcycle, asterisk, because I took the motorcycle lesson specifically because in my sophomore year of college, or in the summer between my freshman and sophomore years, my parents bought me a moped. And so I had a scooter. But in order to drive a scooter, you have to get a motorcycle license. And motorcycles are a lot more complicated to ride than scooters, because like motorcycles actually have like a gear shift. There's like a foot pedal that you have to learn how to use. But I figured that since I was learning this specifically for a scooter, I didn't need to learn the complicated shit and I could just learn how to ride a scooter. And so I learned how to ride a scooter. So I have a motorcycle license, but if you actually put me on a motorcycle, if you put me on an actual motorcycle, I would not be able to get it to go because I don't know how to use the gear shift.
When you're in motorcycle school, did an ex-Yakuza lady with big titties flirt with you?
No, but the teacher of the motorcycle school, at one point we were like taking a break to get some water and he picked a bee off the ground and put it on his shirt.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty rock and roll.
Yeah, that is the other thing that happens in this episode. It's very much like, that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, no, there's like this like motorcycle Yakuza, like former Yakuza girl that they meet, and like she's just like this cool adult that they talk to, and you get a lot about her, and then she never shows up again except for like 2 seconds in the last episode. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, she's really meant to be just like a parallel for like Kiwi being like, be comfortable with expressing yourself physically in your body in a way that makes you happy, because she gets plastic surgery. But there is like a 10-minute scene about her boobs, so
yeah. That was uncomfortable. Yeah, but I mean, like, this episode was just like all metaphors, but the metaphors were like a little belabored, and I feel like this could have been half an episode.
Yes, exactly. And then the girls are all reunited. Very specifically, this is where we start seeing a little bit of the codependency between Kano and Mahiro too.
Yeah.
Kano is like, why did I even get a motorcycle license? Why is it? And then she's like, oh, it was so Mahiro could ride with me, which is romantic, but also you start seeing like now she's kind of really clinging on to Mahiro.
Yeah. And so, like, this is the scene where the two of them go to the beach together, and then Mahiru's like, I'm drawing for you, so just sing for me. And that was, like, not a red flag, but, like, a yellow flag for me. I'm just like, all right, depending on where this goes, this could get a little codependent.
And it does.
It does a little bit,
right.
But I think by the end, they're enough their own people.
Yes, no, by the end.
Like, we talk about this already, but yeah, it's just like there's kind of some moments in the middle here where it's just like, where's this gonna go?
But before then, the girls now decide, hey, we went viral the first time, we're popular enough the second time, we had fun doing that concert for the 31-year-old idol, why don't we do our own concert?
Yeah, so they want to do a live performance because their 1-year anniversary is coming up.
However, behind the scenes, after they did that concert at Shizue Baba's live show, some Sundolls ex-fans or formal fans who were attending the concert notice that mysterious masked idol girl who says she's part of Jelly looks oddly like that idol who got kicked out of Sundolls.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy. Like, you see, again, this feels very realistic to how it would actually happen. Like, people are comparing her, like, nose and profile, and then also, like, some mole she has on her shoulder that normally wouldn't show up in her outfits, but this one idol outfit, like, shows it. And so people are, you know, like, comparing the two, and they're like, oh my gosh, that's totally her. Like, she dyed her hair, and she looks completely different now. And, like, the voices, they sing differently, but this is totally the same person. And so now Jelly, like the current group, is under fire from fans of the Sundolls who are like, who the fuck are you? Why is just angry fans? They're getting haters online, that kind of thing.
And because of all the haters, basically the live house that they book for their concert says, hey, we can't have a concert here because we don't want a bunch of dangerous people coming in and having security risk. Yeah,
they said they got some threats, essentially. And it was just like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what they end up deciding to do instead is they do a concert with no audience, i.e. a live-streamed concert.
And it's really sick. Honestly, it's a great idea.
Yeah. Because, like, then you can broadcast this out to your target audience, which is the entire internet, and you don't have to worry about, like, people accidentally seeing your face or anything. Because they kind of do what, Sarah, do you know who Adu is? Or
No.
Ado? She is a very, very popular singer. She started as an utaite, which is kind of like exactly what Kano is doing. And now she's like performing live concerts all over the place. She sang all the songs in the new One Piece movie. She does all the music for that. Like, you probably heard some of her music on like TikTok or whatever.
Pickpock.
But she's all right. She's like super duper popular, but no one knows what she looks like because whenever she does live concerts, she's like in this kind of translucent cube of like this mesh grid, and she's always lit from behind. So you see like her silhouette, but you never see her face.
I've heard. I've seen
Yeah.
that.
So like this concert is kind of like that. And so, like, they're all lit from behind, so you can't really see their faces. But, you know, this works because they don't want to reveal their identities. But they still get to do a concert without the risk of someone, you know, like, bringing a flashlight or something.
Yeah. And then Kiwi, again, saves the heckin' day by, like, doing, like, projections around the whole space, showing all the fan art they've gotten so that they can sing to it.
Yeah, no, it's super cute. Because, like, when they realized it's like, oh, we're going to have to do a live show without an audience, Kana was really sad because she really wanted, you know, like the sea of glow sticks to look out at. And so she was kind of bummed that they weren't going to get to do that. But so instead now they have like all of this fan art, and it's almost the same effect of like having all the glow sticks is like they see all the fan art projected on the walls, and it's really cute.
Yeah.
塗りつぶして埋め尽くして輪郭さえ分からないように君が描くその青い一直線私はここで今ここ
So the concert's a success. They do well. They get a whole bunch of views on YTube for the concert, including Kano's mom. So she did watch this concert. Her attention is drawn, but her attention is not drawn directly to her daughter, but to the art.
Yeah, so this was the bit that I felt was kind of forced.
Yes. This
like these last...
bit. Yep.
This whole final third is just kind of like, you had me in the first bit, but this feels like forced and manufactured.
So the gist of it, basically, the overall plot of the section is Kano's mom reaches out to Mahiru and is like, hey, saw your art for Jelly. We want you to do a concept design for some like 3D VTubers for Sundolls for this concert at the end of the year. Work for us, stop working for Jelly for a little bit, and we'll nurture you and make you better.
Yeah. And so, like, Mahiru is torn because, like, at the same time, she wants to, respect Kano's feelings because, like, this is her mom who is a bitch. And, like, she would imagine, like, Kano would have some very negative feelings about her friend basically getting stolen away to work for her old idol group that kicked her out, essentially.
And her mom, who sucks.
And her mom, who sucks.
Yeah.
But at the same time... she's like, if I want to make it as an illustrator, this feels like a really big opportunity that I'm never going to get again. And so she doesn't want to just turn it down.
And the other thing that is important to note, like, while Kano's sister kind of gave them the overall rundown of, like, the fact that the Sundolls producer is Kano's mom, nobody really knows none of the other Jelly kids, like, really know the details of what happened. So to Mahiru, she's just like, Kano's mom is kind of a bitch, but this is a good opportunity, but not fully knowing everything that happened.
Yeah, she doesn't know everything. And so we do get it in this episode. We're on episode 9 now. We see like multiple flashbacks to Kano's backstory and how she ended up there. So basically, Kano, when she was a kid, loved her mom, thought she was so cool, looked up to her, admired her, thought she was the fucking coolest. And her mom really liked Kano's voice. It says, like, you have a voice that can reach people. You should join this idol group that I'm producing. And so Kano ends up dyeing her hair and getting it cut the way her mom wants it, which is, like, the black hair with blend cut bangs. Like, she's doing it all at her mom's insistence, essentially.
Her mom even gives her the new name, so Nonoka.
Yes.
Different last name, so starts calling her daughter by a completely different name from here on out.
Yeah. She just calls her daughter the idol name forever, basically. And this is important. Put a pin in that.
Yes.
So, like, her name is Kano. The mom always calls her Nonoka.
Yes.
Like, no matter the context until... Put a pin in that.
Yes.
And so there's, like... We also get some of this from... Mahiru talking to Mei, because Mei is obviously, like, very much a stan of this group, but even she doesn't know what's going on, but she knows the rumors.
Yes.
And apparently what the rumors are is there was this, like, YouTube channel that called Look Idiot, but it was in Japanese. That's just how they translated in the subtitles. That basically, like, got footage of idols, like, smoking in the back room. It's, like, covert footage of just, like, someone snuck this footage on their phone and then posted it to this account. And then that idol group is forced to disband because of the scandal.
And the idol group that was forced to disband were, like, the big rivals of Sundolls at the time. And their dropping out from being idols gave Sundolls the big boost to become mainstream.
Yeah. And so, like, some of the girls think it's positive because it's like, yeah, our rivals this pushes some of our rivals out of the way and it's beneficial to us. Kano thinks it's disgusting. She hates it. And she's just like, I hate seeing people's dreams ruined because of things like this. The rumor is that Kano's mom was the one who was running this account. But then we see a scene where Kano realizes that it's not her mom running the account. It's one of the other girls in her idol group is the one who runs it.
This girl is absolutely in the Nico Shiho text chain. 100%.
Oh my God,
she hangs out with them all the time.
Oh, yeah. She's got that bitch energy.
Yeah.
Her name is Mero. I'm just going to call her Bitchy Pigtails.
Yeah. She's Nico and Shiho combined.
She really is. And so, so Kano finds out because she, like, sees alerts popping up on her phone And then when Kano confronts her about it, she's like, hey, it was beneficial to us because now we get to like go to these new heights. We get to perform at this venue. And Kano thinks that's just so gross. She just punches her in the face.
Yep. And what happens afterwards is basically everyone at the concert venue takes videos of this.
Well, no, this wasn't this was like behind the scenes.
It was behind the scenes, right? So everyone in the back room, right? So but I assume they're not people from the production agency because Yukine, the producer mom, can't keep the footage from leaking. And eventually Yukine fires her daughter.
Yup. It's like, you can't be in the group anymore.
Yep.
And then the group itself has to take a hiatus until now they're getting their comeback finally.
But again, none of this is really shared with Mahiru. So at this point, Mahiru is looking at her art, which is from a few episodes ago. She's working on it. She's going to school, but it's still not where she wants it to be. And she sees this offer from Kano's mom to do art for Sun Dolls as an opportunity to grow.
And so she goes to Kano and says, hey, I got this offer, and if it's okay with you, I would like to take it. But the problem is that Jelly, like this whole group, they wanted to put out a song by the end of the year. They wanted to put out a song on New Year's. And this project that Mahiru would be doing with the Sun Dolls would basically take up all of her free time, and she can't do both. And so this is like, hey, well, we don't have to release the music video exactly on New Year's. Like, we can let Mahiru do this thing, and then we can release the new video after that. But Kano, of course, gets very, very upset.
Yep. She pretty much says, you're the only reason why you do art is because of me. Otherwise, you're
betraying me. Yeah, it's rough.
And the fun part is like the reaction from Mahiru is just like the art of her face is just like, oh, you hit her where it hurts.
Oh, yeah. It's just like, oh my God, just looking at this face that she's making. Like, it's drawn really well and just the right way to punch you in the heart.
Yeah, and she's just like, is that what you thought of me this whole time, is all she says.
Yeah, it's just like, But yeah, so episode 10.
The girls are fighting.
The girls are fighting. So yeah, the next episode is kind of the May show a little bit. Because May is just like, my friends are fighting and I have to fix it.
Yeah. So there's several hijinks, right? So May and Kiwi are filling in for Kano and Mahiru. Basically, Kano's like, I need a break from Jelly. Mahiru is like, I need to go enhance my art for the sake of the group as a whole, and Kano will come around. She'll understand eventually.
And so then May and Kiwi are just like, we're just the music in the video people. This project does not exist without the two of them. Yeah. Fuck. And so, yeah, it's very much like them trying to hold down the fort. And then what May does is May actually bumps into this Meadow girl and tries to, like, get intel out of her, essentially. And so she's like, there's like a whole series of hijinks, but essentially May and Marrow have this conversation and she's like, why do you sing? Like, what do you sing for? And Marrow says, I sing for our producer. Because she's the person who allowed me to be everything that I am now, and I'm a better person because she basically raised me into this idol that I am.
Yep.
And she's like, yeah, and like that's what Kano wanted too, or that's what Nonoko wanted too, but she failed and she fucked up, and so now she's not of any use to the mom anymore. Yep. And it's like, woof.
Woof, woof. And there's also like hijinks on the side too, where Kiwi is doing delivery orders to a random apartment for a streamer who turns out to be Shizue Baba, the 31-year-old idol from before.
Yep, this is like the one time that she comes back for a little bit.
She does mukbang videos now.
Yep, and it's fucking funny, but yeah. So basically, the girls throughout the series, they have been streaming a little bit. And so the two of them, Kiwi and May, have to do a live stream by themselves. And they're talking about, it's like, hey, we kind of have to go on an indefinite hiatus. The group is probably going to break up. And all the fans are really upset about this, obviously.
And then you get the best idol song from any idol show.
Oh, it's so funny. So they've already finished, like, the track. They just don't have vocals for it.
And there's temporary lyrics. So Kano has started the lyrics before they got in the big fight.
Yeah. And so they play the song just so he's like, we want the audience to be able to hear the song at least. It's like, we're not going to be able to finish this, but we would like you guys to hear it.
They're streaming from Baba's house.
Yeah. And so they start playing this song, and then Mei gets so fucking sad. We've seen in previous episodes that Mei does not sing. She is a terrible singer. She plays piano. She does not sing.
Yes, she always, whenever singing comes up, she says, that's the one thing I refuse to do.
Yeah. But she's so sad about the concept of like, my friends are fighting and the group is breaking up and everything's in shambles and I don't want it to end this way. So she starts singing the song and it's so bad.
Like the voice actress does such a good job of not hitting any note. Like, it must be hard to sing that bad.
She doesn't hit a single damn note. But she's putting her all into it. She is going so hard. And the chat is a mix of like, this is terrible, turn it off. And also people just yelling at her. It's like, keep going, you can do it. And what happens is Kiwi, like, gets an idea.
Bends space and time.
Bends space and fucking time, babe. The power of God and anime. Goes over to Kano's house, breaks into their apartment essentially, and forces Kano to listen. And he's like, here, see? Look at what she's doing because she cares so much and we all care and we don't want it to end like this. And it was actually like a really sweet moment.
Mei does confess her love, just solidifying the meme I keep seeing that Kiwi is the guy in the polycule who like is not in a relationship with anyone. I think that's a good joke.
No, I love that though. They're just like, why are you in this polycule? I don't know. I like them. They wouldn't survive without me.
Yeah.
But yeah, and so at the end, like, Kano is like, okay, I don't know if I'm quite ready to sing again, but there's obviously, like, I love you guys too, and I want this to work out. And so she agrees. It's like, all right, let's do this. And Mahiru is like, she's watching the live stream, and so she's listening to all of this, and is just, like, feeling a little fired up afterwards, and she's like, okay, maybe things will be okay.
Yeah. And then we get the last Kiwi episode, so episode 11. But this is also interesting because it's like Kiwi and Mahiru kind of paralleling each other during this episode. Yeah. Mahiru is still doing her thing with Yukine for Sundolls, and she's not doing great. So she starts by doing like this high-level concept art kind of based off of a character that Yukine had shown before. Not really her style. And Yukine's like, start over. This is bad. Yeah,
it's to the point where like they like give back one of her rough drafts, and it's completely like redlined and chained to a completely different style. And they said, draw it just like this. And I'm like, if this was me, I would have just said fuck it and walked at this point, because it's like, do you want my art or not?
Yeah. It's bad.
It's like, if you want it to look like this, then get an artist who draws like this. And like, that's such a fucking thing. I'm going to go on a tangent about commissions now.
Tell us about Art Star.
So I have never personally had this issue because I don't take commissions very often anyway. But I have heard stories of people who get art commissions from people. And it's like, hey, I know what you draw like. I love your art, but draw like this instead. And it's like, if you want it to look like this artist's work, then go commission that artist. And it's just like such a frustrating thing. Like, if they had done this to me, I would have fucking bounced at that point. I'm like, listen, I know what I'm bringing to the table, and what you want is clearly not that. So I think that if you want it to look like this, you should find someone who draws like this and not insult me to my face, and then drop the mic and you walk out of the room.
Yeah.
But like, this is Mahiru's first commission.
And it's with a big company.
And she doesn't know how to stand up for herself.
So at this point, she's like, I need to reevaluate like why I draw and what got me into art. So she calls up Kiwi. And she's like, hey, do you still have access to that old warehouse that has all of her old art in it?
I was confused about where this like warehouse came from.
Yeah.
It's like, if this is her portrait that she's so proud of, why doesn't she already have it?
I don't know. Art warehouse.
One thing I did notice, did we ever find out what Kiwi's parents do?
No.
Because on the portrait, like the big jellyfish mural in the first episode that we see again and again, it says like in the little credits blurb next to it, it's a gift from Watase Atelier or something like that.
Oh, maybe they own the school that they went to.
Or maybe just like the parents own the art company or something like that. Or the parents like work for the art company, and then this warehouse is like where they keep all their supplies and stuff. And then that would explain why Kiwi has a key.
And that would also the reason why I would feel like Mahiru wouldn't have it is because after the painting, she was like, I don't want to associate it with anyone.
Yeah, that would also be fair. Yeah, but I just I don't know if we ever get like full closure on that, but like that's what I have to assume based on the context and hints we are given. And so she goes to like, this warehouse to reevaluate. But at the same time, this is also a Kiwi episode because simultaneously along this, because of the girls, like showing their faces at the concert and people figuring out who they are, eventually the rest of the squad also gets doxxed a little bit. And they're like, hey, what are the identities of these people? And so as part of that, Kiwi also gets doxxed.
Yep.
And so people are like coming into their live streams and like dropping their real name in there, and all that jazz. And so Kiwi starts getting texts from like old friends. Is like, who the fuck is Nox? Are you a VTuber? You're cringe.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you a VTuber and why is your VTuber persona a guy? That's cringe.
And then, but Kiwi, again, kind of going back to like the first time you meet them, doesn't want to tell anyone else in the group because they don't want people feeling sorry for them. Pretty much.
Yeah. This is this episode that I talked about at the very beginning, where it's like what Kiwi is saying and how they're actually feeling based on their expressions and the way the scene is framed. Two very different things are happening, and it's that good visual storytelling that I love so much. Ugh, I love it.
This is definitely a show where it was made to be an anime, like the visual medium of an animated show.
It makes sense because it is like an anime original.
Yeah.
So like, they're taking very much full advantage of their medium, and you'll love to see it, honestly.
Yes. But essentially, Mahiru realizes, hey, something is up with Kiwi. Hey, you've been getting hate mail too, huh?
Yeah, and so Kiwi comes clean, shows her like the messages that they've been getting, and it's just like, it's brutal. It's a lot of like just bad shit of people like making fun of Kiwi and their like VTuber and all this jazz. Kiwi again like tries to brush it off, but still, has anxiety because conveniently a group of students from their school passes by and Kiwi just like freaks out and almost has an anxiety attack essentially. And so in order to cheer Kiwi up, Mahiru, they end up going to a little arcade nearby. To see if like there's some fighting games there that Kiwi likes. And while they're there, Kiwi's like in the bathroom or something. And then
there's assholes.
And then like a group of fucking bullies show up and they're talking to Mahiru and they're like, oh my gosh, Mahiru, aren't you like super cool? You're like a big shot illustrator now. You're so cool. Hey, what's the deal with Kiwi? And they're cringe and all that shit. It's like, cringe. Why is your VTuber persona a guy? Are you one of those people who wishes you were a guy? It's so bad.
Shitty transphobia. Also just shitty people. That.
Yep, but the catharsis that immediately comes after is that Kiwi finally gets the bravery to stand up for themselves and basically like comes up behind them and reads them like for filth.
Yeah.
And it's just saying, it's like, it's like, you don't know what it's like for people to look at, like, to not be able to fit in by doing the things that you love. And it's just like, I didn't want to change. It's everyone else that changed around me. I'm just trying to be true to myself. And this character and this backstory is something I made so that I can love myself. So do not deny me that.
Yeah.
And it's a powerful scene.
They become their own superhero. Well, like before they were a superhero for everyone else. Now they're their own. And you're like, what?
Yeah. No, it's this really good scene. And like, I remember I saw this scene because I think you retweeted it or something. I saw this scene. It was one of the first scenes I ever saw from the show was this bit. And I was like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
They're cooking.
We love to see it.
And because of this is why we are using they, them for Kiwi right now. There's nothing really explicitly said. Again, in Japanese, you don't really use pronouns that much as names. But there is a very nice transition from, in Kiwi's speech, moving from watashi to ore, so more neutral to masculine first-person pronouns, which is really well done.
Yeah, and then later, so the final scene of the episode is Mahiru kind of like comes to grips with her whole thing. Her arc gets resolved because she ends up like just kind of saying fuck you fuck you, I'm not going to do these revisions, and submits the art as she would have drawn it. And then she says it's like, this is the art that I make, and so you can, is like, if this is the art that you actually love, this is what you're getting.
That's what Star would suggest you do if you get a commission like that.
Just make sure that they paid you up front, or else you're not going to get the money for it. But yeah, and so during this speech, the producer's like, okay, this is not what I asked you to do, but I guess it's fine.
Yes. Which is, again, another time where you're like, Yukine is like, she really is a charismatic person, and probably someone who's good at her job and good at nurturing talent, even if she sucks at being a mom.
She fucking sucks, but like, yeah, she's got this natural charisma that like, you see it in Mahiru too. It's like, just like, she's so good at like feeding you exactly what you need to hear, that people will just like throw themselves in front of her to impress her. And like, that's what Kano is doing the entire show. It's what all of the other Sun dolls are doing. And then Mahiru gets wrapped up into it too. She's just like that exact type of character that you want to impress.
And it's not like her doing it like evilly or intentionally. It's just, she just knows who she is and what she wants.
She's very successful, and that success comes from not getting bogged down in emotions.
Yes.
Is, I think, one way we can put it.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just, she's such an effective villain. She's not like the evil cackling behind the screens villain that you would get from like an Idol master or something. She's just
a business person.
She's just business. And it's so cool because like she's an awful person, but she's a great character.
Yeah. She would make great investment decisions.
Yes! She would, and she does!
She would not buy out a concert venue she could not afford.
She wouldn't buy 10,000 posters with a typo on them, and we love that for her. Because she's responsible, and she's good at her job. Eternal boys! God. Anyway, what I was trying to get to, and then got distracted in how good of a villain she is that when she asks, Mahiru is like, why is this the route you chose? Why did you choose to go against my directions? And Mahiru basically says that like Hiyui inspired her, but the exact thing she says is like, I have a friend who is a girl, ... and a boy.
Yeah,
it's like,
we love
points.
We love NB rap. Hell yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio, point.
Let's go.
Non-binary.
Which again really fits into the overall theme of the show of like finding who you are and then being comfortable with not being normal. The quote unquote normal.
Yeah. It's like learning to love the person that you are, not a person who will be loved by other people. A person who you can love.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Let's go.
It's good. Last episode.
This is when you get to the last episode, you're like, oh, that happened. And Mahiru and Kano haven't talked in 4 episodes.
Yeah, no, they haven't.
Or like 3, yeah.
So this last bit is one of the things that I thought was really forced and would not have happened.
No.
So Mahiru says is like, hey, so there's the art. I have a pitch. So this really popular artist called Jelly has been performing super well. They're going super viral right now. And I think that a collaboration between both groups could benefit both hugely. And it's like, you're not even going to talk to Kano about how she feels about that first. Okay, you're just going to do that. And then the producer, agrees.
Yeah, she's like, sure. Why don't we have my daughter perform? Right. And the other thing is they are having this big concert and they're like, Jelly can perform and Sun Dolls will open for Jelly, which is like, that doesn't even make sense.
It should be the other way around, I feel like. It's just, the whole concert just feels really weird and like, it felt like this is what the producers wanted, and so that's what they put in, even if it doesn't necessarily.
Yes.
It's like this is what they wanted for their catharsis, but like a lot of other stuff gets like it doesn't work very well. But anyway, so Kano ends up agreeing to do this concert. And when it's time for her to go on stage, she freaks out because she's like, oh, there's a bunch of haters in this crowd and I can't sing in front of these people because they all know me.
And my mom's here.
And my mom's here and she sucks and probably hates me.
And I haven't talked to my girlfriend in like 2 months.
Yeah. And so it's like, and I'm performing with Sundolls and they all probably hate me because we haven't talked since I got disbanded, and like I fucked up their performances because they had to take a hiatus after that. And what ends up happening is, I can't decide if I like this or not.
I know, it was an interesting choice.
Is that when she's like having this breakdown on stage, Mero, the girl she punched, is the one who tells her to like look up. And when she looks up, she sees again projections of all these sea creatures like projected on the walls, and it's their aquarium in Shibuya. They did it. They made it. Like Kiwi coming in clutch again and setting that up. And so like the girl she punched is the one who tells her to like look up and be reinvigorated by the things that you're seeing. You're making your dreams come true. Damn it. Don't have a panic attack on stage. And then Kano is able to sing and she does a great job.
この夜に暗い夜に消えない光を見つけてきたから泳いで
It's very tear-jerky, but it just felt so unnatural in a way.
Yeah, a little more manufactured than the rest of the show, which is hard because like I could see this happening in other idol animes and we wouldn't complain, but just because the rest of the show was very like slice of life realistic, it becoming all of a sudden not that way was very like, this stands out by contrast.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, I think, is like this would have worked in another anime that was a little bit more out there, but this one has been like so realistic as far as like how a song goes viral, how someone would react to this type of thing. And then just in literally the last episode to just kind of pull that out of nowhere just felt really weird.
Yeah.
But after the concert, they're kind of sitting and they're watching like this credit scroll on this big screen. And they're just like kind of showing like it's really slow, just like showing the names of all the characters. And then when it's finally time, it's like instead, because the mom has been using Kano's idol name. She's been calling her Nonoka this entire series. And then when the credits roll, she ends up, you see Kano's actual name is in the credits. And she sees that and she just breaks down sobbing. Yeah. As in, like, the mom has finally acknowledged her for who she really is and not for this idol persona that she forced on her. Yeah. And it's just like, ugh.
And then you get a bunch of clips of Where Are They Now over the Jelly Girls singing the ending theme. Only it's them this time instead of a different artist.
Yep. And so, like, we see that all of the girls, like, go on to do their thing. Mei and Mahiru end up getting into university for music and art, respectively. Kano is still doing her thing. Kiwi is very much still doing their streaming thing. But the last little, like, section of the show is very cute because they go paint over the mural that, like, the jellyfish mural. But they paint over it with a mural of 4 jellyfish, and it like each one represents each of them.
Yes. And it's not a bad thing because at this point the jellyfish was covered in other graffiti, so it's not like
Yeah. So it's just like, you know, kind of growing up, moving on, and putting positivity back into the world in their own way now that they're comfortable with who they all are. And it's really sweet and it's nice. And it's just like, I wish the concert wasn't so weirdly ham-fisted because the rest of this is so cute.
I know. I wish they had at least one more episode, like somewhere in between. Like they could have the weird concert, but like it just felt like there was like something that's missing between all of a sudden everything getting wrapped up and 20
yeah,
minutes.
I feel like there should have been an episode between episode 11 and 12
Agreed.
where, you know, like Mahiru and Kano talk again, work out their differences. They kind of like figure out as like just a resolution to both of their arcs, or at least like leading more into a resolution of them two as characters, both individually and together.
Or like something with them like Mahiru actually having a realistic way to convince Yukine to include them in the show, because that kind of was one throwaway line where it was like, okay, sure.
Yeah, she agrees to it way too fast.
Yeah.
And it was just like, this is not okay. If this is actually like villainous business lady, I don't feel like this is how it would have gone.
No.
I feel like what could have been cool is if they had ended up producing like if Jelly had ended up producing a song and it like outperforms the single from Sunflower Dolls that they put out. And then she's like the episode 11 is like them rushing to put this video out, but they're under so much pressure because they're like, we have to like make something good, but we're on a time crunch because Mahiru hasn't had enough time yet. And so it's just like all this. I feel like you could have done that simultaneously while they are also working on their feelings for each other and their feelings, like resolving everything. And then they finally put together this music video, or maybe like it's a task set to them by the mom, like the producer. And they're like, okay, if you drop a new single before the end of the year, and it hits at least this number, then I will let you do this. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't know if I super like that, because like, okay, so Kano's whole thing that she was talking about throughout the show is she wants to hit 100,000 subscribers. And you find out eventually she wanted to hit 100,000 specifically because her mom wanted to raise an idol group that would sing to an audience of 50,000, because that's like how many seats there are in Tokyo Dome. And so Kano was like, well, fuck that. What if I do twice as many and I get 100,000 subscribers, and then my mom will be proud of me and she'll see me as cool. And so that, if I said it's like, okay, the mom gives them like this deadline and they have to hit this, it feels a little bit too much like they're...
I honestly think we didn't need the ending concert to be with Sunflower Dolls. I like what you said initially about them having outperformed. Like maybe Sun Dolls has a concert somewhere else, but Jelly has a different concert and they get more buzz, and that's the ending. And you could still have like Kano getting acknowledged by her mom it could even just be a text from her mom with her right name, you know? Like it doesn't even have to be these big credits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like there's ways you could do it. But yeah, I felt like the collaborative concert, because I feel like in real life, a collaborative concert with an idol who got kicked out of your group for being violent and punching another member would be so bad for all parties involved publicity-wise.
Yeah.
I feel like this would never happen in like actual idol world.
Yeah.
So that's part of why it feels so forced. And I feel like Yukine, the producer, would know that and would therefore never agree to this kind of thing. And so that is one of the biggest things. It just like felt weird and forced. And it's like, okay, I see where you're going with this and I see what you're trying to do, but at the same time, it's not really working.
Yeah, and again, just by the contrast of the rest of the show feeling like things that could plausibly happen, it just makes it stand out more. Like this is a little contrived, guys.
Yeah, contrived is a good word for it, I think.
The other critique we got from our Discord, which I think is fair too, about the show overall, is that there are a lot of threads that are thrown out there that just never really get explored and feel like a little bit like a Chekhov's gun, but like not a resolved Chekhov's gun. Like
because like we meet the middle-aged idol. Well, she's not middle-aged; she's 30. Yes. But we meet
just like us. We're middle-aged.
Yeah, 3 is like a good middle number. But yeah, so like we meet Baba and she's important for like one episode and she shows up like 2 more times in the entire anime, and that we never learned anything more about her. It's just like, okay, then why'd you even bring her up? And we have the Yakuza lady who I was just like, I don't know if she's good. I remember writing it in my notes after I finished.
She's in the opening.
It's just like, why is she important? She's in 1 episode. Yeah. And she doesn't really do much except for be weird around high schoolers.
And then like Kano's dad.
Oh yeah, we like never see
resolved.
him.
There's also like like it's brought up in the our Discord too, the guy who stalked Nonoka. There's not really any resolution there
Oh
either.
yeah, like that weird like YouTuber who was like putting stuff out as well. Is like we never even see their face. It's like what was the deal with that? It feels like they're I feel like that's a good. I full disclosure, I didn't read any of the stuff on the Discord because I wanted to go in without spoilers, and then I just finished watching the show like 2 days before we recorded this. But that was something else that bothered me. Was it's just like, okay, then why are we wasting time on these characters? It's just like, I get that, you know, there's other people in the world and you're broadening the horizons, but it's just like like the Yakuza girl was literally just there to provide a metaphor, and it was just weird.
And and you could still have her, but maybe not like 10 minutes talking about her breast surgery. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's,
Around children.
occasionally the priorities of the show get weird.
Yes. It's definitely like, again, it's definitely like the highs are really high, and then the lows are like, why was this here? Question mark.
Yeah, like, I would definitely not say that any of the lows are especially bad.
No.
None of them are fucking Yamato's dad level bad.
No. The legend of Yamato's dad will live on our podcast.
I will die mad about it. At the top of the fucking hill that I dug with my own anger. But yeah, like, nothing about it is especially, like, hideously bad. It's just kind of like, that could have been better.
Yeah.
But, like, overall, I think it was a really solid show. And, like, there's part of me that was like, I would watch a second season of this, but another part of me is like, I kind of hope it doesn't get a second season, because I feel like it wrapped in a good way.
Yeah, because, like, everything resolved in a way that makes sense, like, without a second season. I think that I am interested, like, tentatively curious what they end up doing with other mediums.
Yeah, I wonder if the manga...
Or if they ever do, like, a novelization. I'm curious how they handle that in different mediums.
They could also do a live action, maybe.
Yeah.
This is a story that I feel like would serve very well for live action.
Yes, definitely a visual medium with where you could hear the music. But I also like you said, Star. It feels like things wrapped up. There's definitely like the loose ends, but they're not big enough for a second season, really.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah.
What it needed was like 3 more episodes, and then
I mean, I feel like even just one more episode, like between the finale and the episode before it, would have done them a whole lot of good.
Yeah. And 13-episode anime are normal. Like, I get that they were taking a risk by making an anime original, but like, I mean, 1 more episode would have helped.
1 more episode would have helped this a lot, I think. And maybe, you know, like reworking that concert at the end. One final thing that I wanted to talk about in the finale, that we didn't bring up before, but just because before we move on, this was So Kano's like final scene that we get with just her is she ends up graduating still. I don't know how. Girl never goes to school, but she like goes to her high school graduation. As she's walking out of the school, her mom is there waiting with like her sister in the car. And instead of even acknowledging the mom, she just walks right past her, essentially.
Good for you.
And then the mom kind of like gives like an approving nod of just like, you've really come into your own. And so it's just like the mom still, like, she gets the acknowledgement from her mom, but by that point in her character arc, she doesn't need it anymore. And it's like she was so desperate for her mother's approval for the entire show, and then by the last episode, she's like, I don't need your approval because I'm happy with who I am. And I'm like, fuck
let's go.
Fuck yeah, baby girl, let's go.
So Star, I'm curious also to know your overall thoughts as someone who A, does art for a living, and B, has a VTuber and does VTubing. Microphone at you.
Okay, I found all the stuff with Kiwi extremely realistic. I feel like, with the exception of, like I said, I feel like...
They need a better rig, yeah.
They need a better rig. But yeah, I mean, I felt like everything I saw there has my thumbs up seal of approval. Felt realistic, definitely, yeah. Would have loved a rant from Kiwi about how much money YouTube takes out of your super chat. But at least it's better than Twitch.
Hey.
And then as far as the art stuff, I mean, like, Mahito doesn't do much professionally except for this one bit at the end.
True.
And I think I already gave my spiel on that.
Hey.
But yeah, it's just like, if they want you to draw like another artist, tell them this is how I draw, take it or leave it. Yeah. And it's just like you have to respect artists. If you're coming to us for a service, there is an amount of respect that needs to be there. And the respect comes with, you know, reading the terms of service, not expecting a person to draw like somebody else. Because, like, I almost feel like this was never explicitly said in the anime, but this is my headcanon now, that they were not paying Mahiru enough for this commission.
Oh, probably not. Maybe
probably-
that's why they accepted the concert.
Honestly, maybe. It's just like, I feel like maybe that's why they wanted her. Is like, she's a new artist. I bet she's going to super
a high
duper undercharge her.
schooler.
She's a high schooler, and she's not going to charge us as much as XYZ other really big shot artists. And so that's why they went with Mahiru instead. Like, this is never outwardly stated in the comic. There's like no real evidence for this, but this is my headcanon now, is that they came to Mahiru because they wanted someone who would work for them for cheap, because she is still new and she does not know how to charge for commissions.
Yeah, I can see it.
We have all been there.
Yeah.
I have definitely done projects that I thought were super duper cool that I ended up getting not paid as much as I would have liked just because I was so excited to actually work on the project. I've done that. I wouldn't do it anymore though.
Yep, kids. Anyone who is just getting started in any sort of creative field, make people pay for you because they have money.
And charge them up front, or sign some sort of contract so that if they don't pay you, you can take them to court and win.
Hey, let's go. Or at the very
Get
least,
their
force
asses.
them to let your idol group into the concert with their idol group. So, Star, you know my best girl, which is Shizue Baba. Who's your favorite character?
Like, I like a lot of them for a lot of reasons. I feel like it's a tie between Mahiru and Kano, honestly, because I relate to them both for very different reasons.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The child they make in their brain is my best girl. Have you ever seen, like, love children, like, fanfic?
Yeah.
But, like, I've seen this so much in, like, Love Live, where people are, like, making quote-unquote love children between the Love Live girls. Is like, what if the Love Live characters had children? Fuck biology. What would that be like? And it's literally just like a combination of traits from each of the parents kind of shoved into a character.
So what would the baby look like, Star?
Oh,
Please
God, what would the
describe.
love child between Mahiru and Kano look like? My hypothetical best girl that I'm going to write in all my fan fictions? Oh, gosh. Probably... Well, okay, so Kano's hair is not naturally blonde, but I feel like Love Child's daughter would have to be.
Oh, yeah. But she might have brown streaks instead of the green streaks.
Oh, yes. And then she has, like, blue eyes because that's, like, the Kano's favorite color, and she has blue eyes, so she'd have to have, like, the blue eyes. But maybe they, like, fade to brown at the top to show, because that's how genetics work.
Ooh. And in the first episode, they wear an angel. One of them is an angel costume and one of them is a devil costume. So maybe she's half angel, half devil.
Yes! And her name is Mika because it's the Mako or Maka. It would be like their combination of their names, of course. Mahiru and Kano. Ma from Mahiru and like Mako or Maka or something like that from Kano.
This is Star's original character. Do not steal, but you're welcome to draw fan art and tweet at her.
Do not steal. Yeah, draw me fan art of my hypothetical like favorite best girl. Oh no, Sarah! She has purple eyes.
Oh, you're right.
Because Mahiru's like her, you see her like she's associated with red a lot of the time because like her pedestrian outfit is very red. And then Kano's favorite color is blue. So if you combine the red and blue, they're purple.
Wow.
She has purple eyes, Sarah.
I'm so excited for you to cosplay her, Star.
She's got that disease that was on Tumblr that's totally real, where you have purple eyes and no body hair and you don't menstruate.
Oh, yeah, that's her.
Have you ever seen that?
No.
What? Hang on. I'm finding it.
I only use Tumblr to look up art of my ships. I don't look at Tumblr otherwise.
Alexandria's Genesis. That's what it's called. You never heard of this?
No.
I'm sending you this fucking post, Sarah.
Maybe her name can be Alexandria because I think that's something that people
God.
would do is give her a randomly American name.
Okay, fuck everything. Fuck the show. I'm taking a tangent to like read this post. It's 2 paragraphs long. Let me have this.
Oh, yes.
So this was like a very famous Tumblr post that went around, and a lot of people thought it was real. Spoiler alert, it was not, but it was very much poised by someone who was claiming it was real.
Oh.
It's like saying they wrote Gullible on the ceiling, and then everyone's like, I can't believe that they wrote Gullible on the ceiling. Can you believe that? So this is the original post. Alexandria's genesis, aka violet eyes, a genetic mutation. When someone is born with Alexandria's genesis, their eyes are blue or gray at birth. After 6 months, the eyes begin to change from their original color to purple, and this process lasts 6 months. During puberty, the eye violet deepens to a dark purple, a deep purple, a royal purple, or a violet blue color and remains that way. It does not affect the person's eyesight. Those who have this mutation will never grow any facial, body, pubic, or anal hair, not including hair on their head, with their tears, noses, and eyebrows and eyelashes. Women also do not menstruate, but are fertile.
Ooh, in the response I'm seeing, no fucking shaving, no fucking periods, and I get purple eyes. Why the fuck wasn't I born with this?
I know, right? Sarah, so many people thought this was real.
And your original character, Maka Alexandria, does have that condition.
Yes, that's my daughter!
And she's a half angel, half devil!
And she's a magical girl because fuck you!
And an idol, of course.
And an idol.
But also an incredible artist, just like her other mom.
Yes.
Also,
yes,
sometimes she has a flesh fang for no explainable reason.
No! If she develops a flesh fang, I'm disowning her.
She has
anyway.
a real fang. How about that?
Okay, I will accept it if it's a real fang, but if it's a flesh fang, I'm kicking her out of the house. You're being disowned if you have no flesh fangs in my family. Anyway, this has been Idol Days.
So before we close out, why don't we tell the people about our next watch along?
Yeah, so we literally got together on this call and we're like, hey, what are we going to watch next? And we were like, I don't fucking know what we're going to watch next. So this is a show that's extremely recent. And then Sarah was like, hey, what if we do a show that's really old?
Yep.
So Sarah was looking through her like favorites on Crunchyroll and found an anime called Chance Pop Session, which is from 2001. Hey!
What were you doing in 2001, Star?
Watching anime on DVDs in 3 parts on YouTube.
Yeah, or Toonami.
I think I was. I don't even know if was that like. This may have been before I started watching stuff on Toonami. How old was I? I was still in elementary school.
Yeah, we would have been like
4th or 5th grade. Yep. Yeah. So I was like just discovering anime at that point.
Wow.
Yeah. And meanwhile, it's a show about 3 girls becoming idols. And we're going to say, like, it could be great. It could be terrible. We have no idea, but we're so curious.
It has a solid 6.4 on anime list, so it'll probably be
mid. But yeah, I'm just like, this one has been on our list for a long time because I've heard some people call it a classic.
Huh? 2001.
We'll see.
It's Madhouse, so... which is wild. It's a good studio.
But yeah, so 2000s idol anime. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, so that will be our next episode. That will be coming out at the beginning of September.
Wahoo!
So mark your calendars. Make sure you're subscribed on our various platforms. We are on YouTube,
Whoa,
which we are
YTube?
really trying to... Why tube?
Why tube?
Why tube? But yeah, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're getting close to 700 subscribers, which will get us closer. Once we hit 1,000 subscribers, we can start monetizing the channel, which should earn us just enough to pay for a Crunchyroll subscription, and that would be awesome. So hey, if you have not subscribed to our YouTube already, please do that.
Wahoo.
We are Idol Days Pod on YouTube. We are also on all your podcasting apps of choice, mostly, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all them places. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And also you can check out our website where we have links to all of our various social medias, links to our Discord, and that is idoldays.card, CARRD.co, or idolluminati.net.
And you really should join our Discord. There are some hot and happening things that get posted there every once in a while. We did get a link to Aqua's Love Live Aqua's covering We're All in This Together from the other anime. That is a classic High School Musical.
Good. Yeah, High School Musical, my favorite idol
So
anime.
shout out to Derek from our Discord for sharing that beautiful, beautiful gem.
This is so good. But yeah, join our Discord. Come party with us. Come join the conversation. And hey, watch Chance Pop Session with us and
Hey.
react to it.
2001, baby.
2001, baby, let's go! How old were you in 2001? Age yourself on our podcast.
Were you alive in 2001?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Stop making me feel old, Sarah.
The Jellyfish Can't Swim and the Night Girls wouldn't have been.
Oh, my God! Anyway, this has been Idol Days.
We've
Been Lady. See you next live. Bye.